The U.S.-North Korea summit is officially back on and will take place in Singapore in just over a week. To get a better understanding of the stakes for both countries in the talks, we want to bring in Dr. Jung, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution and a former senior official at the CIA, and Ambassador Robert Gallucci, who was special envoy for the State Department and the top U.S. negotiator during the North Korean nuclear crisis in 1994. He's now at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. Welcome to the show, both of you. Jung, the president's at Camp David prepping for the summit. You said Kim Jong-un has done his homework already. What does the president need to do?
I think the president needs to work out, along with his team, what he should say, what he should not say, and what some of the benefits that he can offer for Kim. So I think for if I were prepping the president for this type of event, I think I would keep it as simple as possible, maybe a quadrant where you have a say, avoid, what to say, and potential concessions to ease the pathway forward. So I think the president should be aware that Kim Jong-un is doing his homework. By all accounts, he's been reading up on everything, what's going on in South Korea, what's going on in the U.S., what's going on in China, as well as Russia.
Ambassador, you've negotiated with North Korea before. The president's not known for being scripted. Is this outcome of this summit pre-baked? I mean, how much risk is there in getting these two leaders in the same room?
I think a lot of us hope that some of it at least is pre-baked and it makes sense, but it's very hard to know. I think both these people who are meeting are infamous or famous for their improvisational, their surprise factor. So I don't know whether the president is taking the good advice my colleague has just suggested and is going to have areas to stay away from and things to offer and things to expect to get. That would be good. It would be good if they had agreed, for example, on what follow-on steps were going to be to implement any understandings they might reach at a general level in Singapore.
So what are those things to listen for, those follow-on steps?
Well, I think all of us should try to not focus on the shiny objects and focus on the substance. And the substance that brought us to a crisis for almost a full year was a nuclear weapons capability mated with a ballistic missile capability that could reach the United States of America. That's what was new in 2017. And so the issue is, how much detail can we get on the term denuclearization? What does it mean for the North Koreans to give up nuclear weapons, fissile material, production capability, ballistic missiles of extended range? How do we monitor the giving up, the turning over of this material? And how do we verify commitments that might be made in a general sense in Singapore?
So declaring an end to the Korean War, would that be a shiny object?
That would be a shiny object. I thought it was notable that the president spent so much of the conversation with the press after the Kim Young-chol meeting talking about the peace issue.
Yes.
And that was concerning for me because that's probably what the North Koreans mentioned in the meeting. And they probably know that it hits a chord with the president, who seems pretty interested in ending this Korean War. But I think we have to remember that we can't have peace on the Korean Peninsula without denuclearization of North Korea, and that peace without denuclearization is going to be a fake peace.
It was a propaganda win, in some ways, for Kim Young-chol, the former top spy, to walk into the White House like he did. Have either of you heard anything about what North Korea has agreed to give up? Have you heard any concessions so far?
Right now, we should recognize that there is something of a de facto pause in the testing of nuclear explosive devices and the testing of extended-range ballistic missiles.
That's a concession.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
But it's also in a way, something to watch out for, because we don't want to end up there. We don't want to end up with legitimizing a North Korean nuclear weapons program and ballistic missiles, which they are not testing. That's not a good end game. It's not bad for a condition going into talks. We have a long, long way to go.
The president, Jung, also said he doesn't want to use the term maximum pressure anymore. And this was the idea of isolating Kim Jong-un and putting sanctions on him. How significant was that?
I was surprised to hear him say that, since maximum pressure is the policy that we've been following. I'm unclear as to whether he has discussed this with the allies. I suspect that this is the first time that they've heard that maximum pressure is no longer on the table. But I think that maximum pressure really was the only thing that could get Kim Jong-un to reorient his mind on how he approaches nuclear weapons. I think for the most part, it would require mental gymnastics for us to think that Kim Jong-un is going to give up nuclear weapons on the 70th anniversary of North Korea's founding, something that he completed that his grandfather and his father were unable to do. So to give that away for a McDonald's franchise in North Korea, I think is something that does not make logical sense to me.
You're laughing, Ambassador.
I am, because I like the McDonald's reference. So, but in truth, for those who think there really is a chance that North Korea would give up their nuclear weapons over a period of time in a action for action type process, not a big bang in which everything goes before they get anything, but sort of what we've done before, but better. Those who think that believe that the only way this would happen is if the North were going to get some sort of guarantees that they didn't need to worry about regime change. That's the only way. And that means normalization of relations. And the only way most of us can see that happening is if among the things that happen is that North Korea addresses the human rights issue. That's a very tough one, and you, I'm sure, noticed the president didn't. He admitted he did not raise it.
He made a point of saying maybe later.
Right.
Didn't talk about it. Thank you, both of you.